Okay, let's learn some recursion. So, what is recursion? Recursion is when a function calls itself. So, as an example, you might have a function called func, and for this function to be recursive, it would have to call itself, func, invoked, somewhere inside of the code block here. Now, all recursive functions will have two cases inside of their code block. There will be a recursive case, which is where the function calls itself, and there will be a base case, which will not call the recursive function, but instead will just return a value. So the best way to understand this will be to do an example. Let's write a function that will take in a number and return the factorial of that number in a recursive way. If you're not familiar with what factorial is, the factorial of a number is simply that number times every number from itself down to 1. So the factorial of 4 would be 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which equals 24. So we say that 4 factorial is 24. And as another example, 3 factorial would be 3 times 2 times 1, or 6. Okay, so let's write our factorial function. We will say function factorial and it takes in some number, num. Inside of our function, we will have an if-else statement. Now, this if block up here will be our base case. And this else block will be our recursive case. So let's start with the base case. How a base case works is basically we say, what is the situation in which if I take a parameter that I can simply return the same parameter and get the correct output for our function. So for our function, what is the case in which we can take in a number and simply return that number to get the correct answer? And the answer is 1. So we say that our base case is when num equals 1. If we take in 1 as num, we can simply return num because 1 factorial equals 1. That doesn't work for, say, 4, because if we take in 4, we should output 24, not 4 itself. Great, that is our base case. So now we have to deal with the recursive case. So we will say, if num does not equal 1, or simply else, we will want to return num times factorial of num minus 1. And this is where we are calling our function inside of itself, causing the recursion. And that is it. That is our function. Now, how the heck does this return the correct answer for us? The best way to explain this is by running through what the function does step by step. To visualize what is happening in our function, we will use the call stack, and we will do this in the next video.